All right. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you are. This is your host Ashutosh, bringing to you another series of happy hours of coaching session. And I'm privileged to invite Anand Pandey from Zebia, who has agreed to host this session for us. And Anand carries a rich experience of 17 years across consulting, across various organizations. He has been an enterprise transformation consultant and a coach, and someone who's regular in many of the conferences. So you'll find him speaking in many of the conferences, and also an avid blogger, if I were to say, and an avid learner. And he is going to talk about a very interesting subject, and this subject is about humanizing change, right? What do we mean by change, and how do we humanize the change? So over to you, Anand. Without taking any further time, I will hand over the uh, podium to you. So you can just unmute yourself, Anand. Yeah, you can just unmute yourself. Try now.
Thanks, Asutosh, for having me over here, and thanks for the wonderful participants. Gives me goosebumps seeing so many people taking time out over the Friday evening to learn something. Wonderful, that's great. So I'll share my screen, and for that, you may have to give me the permission to share. I think it can make me a host. I should be able to do it. Sorry for the inconvenience. Will just be online. So, shall I see that you are a host now? See, Nagesh, I think you are a host, so you should be able to make me a host or a co-host.
It's me, Sri Nagesh. Are you asking me, Anand?
Yes, sir. I see that you have been a host now. So if possible
Is it?
for you,
Please
if
tell me what can I do? I don't know. Please tell me what do I do?
so if you go to the participants list, so when you
Okay.
click on the participant list, you'll see my name. And if you
Okay.
can click on more and make me as a host, you should be getting an
Okay.
option or a co-host.
Allow to multi-pin. It is showing me three things: stop video, spotlight for everyone, allow to mute, multi-pin. It is showing only three pins, Anand. Three things, Anand.
You're clicking on participants and you see my name and
Okay.
clicking on more. Uh, do you get any option?
Yeah, I see only three options. If you click on your name,
Okay. Ashutosh sir is over here, so he should be able to do something about it.
Yes, yes, I'm here. Sorry for the disconnection. I'm back.
So possible to give me a co-host so that I can share the screen. I'm not able to start
Yes,
with
yes,
that without it.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Sorry for that. Yeah, sorry for that. And yeah, I've made you the co-host.
Yes, I can do it now. Thanks a lot, sir. Great. So Ashutosh sir has already given the introduction to the topic, so we can directly jump to it. So like me, I'm sure most of you would have tried to change one or the other habit, right? And changing habit is really very hard, isn't it? We make new year resolution, we make commitment to ourselves that we will either start doing something. It could be taking a morning walk, having a healthy food, doing a code check-in on time. Could be from office as well. doing a daily stand-up or a daily scrum on time, or it could also be doing some stop to do something. It could be like not eating junk food, or not eating far, not eating, taking alcohol. It could be anything for that matter. Like either we start doing or stop doing. But no matter how much of our strong resolutions are, no matter how much we have publicized it, time and again we have seen that our willpower just fades. I make New Year's resolution on 1st of January, and by end of January, I see that people have given up. And then we get mad to ourselves. Sometimes we even give up. We try, we give up. Isn't that familiar to all of you? But before you jump to a conclusion and get tempted to say that, hey, we are lazy, we are reluctant to change, just hold on. Translate that to more human. We are basically trying to avoid danger. We are protecting our finite energy resources that we have. Sounding overwhelming? Hold on. I'll explain you by unpacking our brain, though not literally. So the current structure of our brain that we know is the product of millions of years of evolution. We keep it simple. I'm not going to detail onto how our brain functions, but primarily it is three parts. The first part is the primitive brain, the reptilian complex, which is involved onto the survival, eating, reproduction. When you see a fire across any area, you do not stop there to do root cause analysis. And as we evolve, we develop the mammalian brain, the limbic system. And this helped us to socialize with people. We stopped eating our own siblings. We started to do gathering with ourselves. We started to care among ourselves. Socialization started to develop within mammals. And as we developed, finally, we developed a human brain, the neocortex. And that gives us the ability to rationalize things, to think logically. But 90% of our time in our day-to-day activity, we are relying on our limbic system, hardly 5% on neocortex. And there is a reason to that. Neocortex takes a lot of energy to function, whereas limbic system is just energy efficient. What that means is it takes more energy to think about something and then doing something new than to just react out of instinct and habit. Let me explain you with a simple quiz from Daniel Kahneman's famous book. The quiz goes something like this. If a ball and a bat costs together $1.10 and the bat costs $1 more than the ball, how much does the ball cost? And if your prompt answer is that a bat costs $1 and a ball costs 10 cents, you have just now responded using your limbic system, which is energy efficient. And unfortunately, the answer is wrong. And you're not alone. 90% of people answer that. $1 for a bat and 10 cents for a ball. Now, if you have got the answer that no, it's actually $1.05 for a bat and 5 cents for a ball, you have used your expensive neocortex. You have just expended a part of your energy to get that answer right. In fact, 20% of our overall energy consumption is used by our brain. So saving these energy here, bits of there is very much essential for our survival needs. If we keep on spending energy just like that, we might just be drained off. And brain has learned that through evolution. It has learned that it has mastered that skill that whenever we are repeating any behavior, let's make it automatic, autopilot, like driving a car, right? No more do you actually see whether you're changing the gear, where are you steering. You might never realize that when you started from office and when you reached home. All these things are habits. The more you perform it, the more it gets physically wired within your brain, what we call it as neural networks. But brain is also very adaptive. And this adaptiveness of our brain is called neuroplasticity. Let's take an example. When we first learned something new, let's take keyboard as an example. When we first started to learn typing on a keyboard, our brain started to develop those neural connections across the brain. And it learned, our fingers started to learn that, okay, without even we noticing, we'll be typing letters and words and spaces. and over time, our fingers started to think. We do not think consciously. So many thousands of neural network has been created just learning a simple keyboard typing. And now imagine this QWERTY keyboard is replaced by something much better designed keyboard, something which is aesthetically very good, comfortable to use. But our brain will not like it because it has invested a lot of energy for us to learn this new way of typing, this existing way of typing. And when you ask the brain to learn a new way, the brain thinks, whoa, we have to first I have to destroy those neural networks and then create a new neural connections. That's going to be physically draining. And it immediately releases lots of noxious neurochemicals, which is attempting to change the behavior. And it's as if like it is telling you, whenever you try using your pinky finger for a space bar rather than your thumb, your brain will shout out, hey, stop. That's now not how it's supposed to be. Let's get back to the autopilot. Let's save energy. Let's use thumb for the space bar. It just goes that way. But then we are saying that neuroplasticity, the brain is plastic. So how can we harness this neuroplasticity of our brain to influence the change? And if you're thinking that, that's right. Engage your brain in designing the change and just answer to the brain the question that it throws to us. So while the rational side of our brain is looking at the ability aspect of the change, can I do it? The emotional side of our brain is looking for the answer to the motivational aspect of the change. Is it worth the effort? So let me introduce you to some of the, as I said, right, it's a composite change influencing framework, which I'll be talking about. So it's amalgamation of Patterson's, Cialdini's, James Clear, and Hyatt's framework that I'll be just mashing and telling you. So it's nothing new about from me. It's just like already existing wonderful, powerful influencing tools. So let's start with we talked about motivation and ability. So let's start with the personal motivation. It's about whether I want to do it. So start with answering some of the questions. And here I'll be interchangeably using some of the examples about like me starting with the health exercise, walking, or it could be going for a daily stand-up or a daily scrum on time, or it could be checking the code properly onto our Git server. So why do I want to engage in this behavior? Try to find that motivation. Why should I? What is in it for me? What's my personal value? How is my personal value linked to it? So if I do not go for a morning walk, then my cholesterol level, and actually my cholesterol level has gone high during this COVID time. So I might not live longer. I want to live with my family, take care of my kids and watch them grow. So that's what my personal value. If I am not participating onto daily stand-up on time, if I'm not coming to the daily scrum on time, I'm being disrespectful people's time. So try to attach the good behavior or the bad behavior to the personal value. How will this help me avoid pain, fear, or give hope and pleasure? Try to relate that. If I'm not checking in code very frequently, and if I do it toward the end of the day, it will be much painful to do the code reconciliation. If I'm not going for a walk very frequently, then I might be having high cholesterol. I might have to go to the hospitalization, angioplasty, and all those pain. So we'll have to emphasize on those. How will this help me grow in my area of interest? So these are the questions that would be coming, your brain would be throwing at you in some form or the other. Try to find the answer and feed it back to the brain. Otherwise, your brain will not be motivated to participate onto the change. Try to engage someone. Someone would have done it, right? Someone would have got into the practice of checking in code periodically on time. Someone would be participating onto daily scrum on time. Somebody would be religiously going to the walk every day, every single day. Engage them, learn from them, tell their story, because stories are very important. It creates those vicarious experience within our brain. And when you see that people are showing curiosity, ask them to try their hand. When we were first introducing Jira as a tool, Developers were using that, but for the management to see the report themselves rather than having a scrum master produce a report for them, they were a bit reluctant. We showed them, okay, how it's done, and then we asked them, give it a try. It's a safe space. And then they started the self-discovery. You might then at the end want to invite people. Generally, I see people use, I want you to do that. That is not something which I would prefer using a word. Instead, I say, I invite you to do that. Give an option to people. People feel motivated when they have a choice to do that or not. But simply motivation is not sufficient. We have to get into the deliberate practice of doing it. That is where comes the personal ability. Here, we are trying to find out, fine, I am motivated to do that, but do I have the skills and do I have all the strength to get engaged onto this? Do I have all the time and money and physical, and that there is a lesser of physical and mental effort that is needed to change? Just imagine if a developer has to follow 10 different steps, 15 different Jira fields to fill up, and then only they can check in the code. How much motivated they would be? It would be too challenging for them. Just 1 minute. Sorry for that. So it would be so demotivating. So try to make it very simple. In fact, user experience guys get it very clear. They ensure, so when we are buying any consumer packaged goods, chips or anything, we know that if we make it very complex for a packet to open up, no matter how tasty a chips or a chocolate inside is, if it is cumbersome to open a packet, people will not do it. Similarly, if my walking shoes are painful, it does not help me walk beyond 15 minutes, I might not want to do that. So we will have to be a bit more conscious whether we have got right skills and strengths to do that. And this is where your trainings might really help. But so, okay, we have covered the motivation part and the ability part. But isn't that sufficient? No, it is not. We human do not exist in isolation. We are a highly social creature. I'll take a pause over here. Ashutosh sir, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm on a right tempo, pace, audible, clear.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's
To go
going
slow,
on bang on
fast.
target. No, I think the speed is okay. Maybe people can give the feedback in the chat quickly. I hope the speed is okay with everyone. And the pace. Yeah, I think, yeah,
Wonderful. Thanks for the
it's
quick
okay.
feedback.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
So what I was saying is that we are a highly social creature. What's the worst punishment in a prison? Solitary confinement. In fact, we are okay to stay in a company of murderers, rapists, convicts, but not alone. So we will have to think about the motivation and ability from a social perspective as well. So here come social motivation. Here we talk about harnessing peer pressure, whether other people will encourage my right behavior and discourage my wrong behavior. And this social motivation comes from peer pressure. Peer pressure is very important. What we call sometimes as a bandwagon effect as well, but that's very important. And you want to untap energy of people who have got that social capital. People who are good problem solvers, people who communicate freely and interest others, people who are sincere in what they say, what they do, people who are cautious thinkers, and basically people who are influencers, people who are respected, who are socially connected. Tap them in. And in general, people want to do something when requested by people whom they like, whom they respect. If I would do something to a person X, that person X would somehow be obliged to return that favor. Ever go to any shop? Specifically, I've seen that in sari shop. I go with my wife to a sari shop, and after just few conversation, if the salesman gets a hint that, okay, there's a prospective customer, immediately he orders for a cold drink or a tea. That is the bias that they are playing us with. Because now, after we would have had that small 5 rupees, 10 rupees tea, unconsciously, we are now into that peer pressure to return back that favor. And we end up buying 1,000 or 2,000 rupees sari, which we never intended to buy in the first place. So use those influencers. Influencers do a lot of tricks. Engage those people whom everyone respects, and they can easily persuade. And with time, you try to gain that social capital so that you do not have to rely on everyone. You can just do that by yourself. But that can only happen with strong trust. You may also try, what social recognition can I have for attractiveness? Uber initially had this driver rating only, right? But soon they introduced passenger rating as well, because they saw that while driver rating ensured that drivers were behaving correctly, putting passenger rating now subconsciously, unconsciously is putting a pressure. You will never realize that, but it's putting a pressure for you to behave properly, because now you get 4-star or a 5-star. Slack channel, what's that? Stack Overflow. It gives rating to people who provide better answers. Those are those small recognitions. We tried that. People who participate and actively contribute to sprint planning, daily scrum, we give them stars. Star does not have any value on itself, but it has a very strong social recognition. Use that. Use that powerfully. And the next is the social ability. It's here. So there it was, who are the ones who are motivating you? Here, who are the ones who are providing you the help when you need it? So for social motivation, my wife, my mother might be motivating me to go for a walk or not eat junk food. But if I'm talking about health, and if I go to the gym and there is no health instructor or a qualified health instructor who can provide me with the right guidance of how to work out, will I be motivated? Will I be having right skills to do it? Or if my developers are stuck on how to do a code check, they have basic skills, but if they are stuck somewhere and they do not have any user guide, or if they do not have any SME, if you will, to provide that guidance, will they be motivated to stick into the change? They might not be. So have certain people, those early adopters, be there whenever the support is needed. You may have your user manual, training guide, but have people also whom they can reach. They might not, but at least they will know that, okay, if I am falling, there is someone who can guide me. I can fall back to my health instructor to see, hey, am I doing it right? Or the developers checking in the code, hey, am I doing it right? You need that very well. But we have covered personal, we have covered social. We are surrounded in an environment as well. So let's cover it from the structural motivation and structural ability as well. Why leave that? So here, structural motivation, it talks about rewards and recognitions, which will motivate our good behavior and discourage our bad behavior. So Snyder actually was one of the ethnographer. He found in his research that most of the cases, people would value something highly and work toward it if there is a fear of losing. Let me throw it to you a challenge. If I say you that, okay, you bet $100 and there is a chance that you lose it, and I say that you bet $100, then there's a chance that you will be winning. Very likely you will not go for a former one, because the moment you say there's a chance of losing, you want to maintain that status quo. You not want to go with something beyond, but at least retain whatever you have. Play with that, but carefully. Your performance bonus, if you do not do that, generally how we say it, we do that, we'll get performance bonus. I put it differently. We do not do that, we'll lose a performance bonus. So that way people think that, nah, if I don't do anything, I'll lose whatever I'm gonna have. And if you say that if you do this, you will get a performance bonus, they'll say, I'm pretty happy with whatever I'm getting it. It's just the same thing. Framing it differently plays with the brain. But at the same time, be careful with these perks. I've seen that going wrong. When in one of my client location in Melbourne, I had that each person coming late for a daily scrum will have to pay $1. Before putting that punishment, if you will, quote unquote, People used to feel shy, embarrassed when they were late, trying to give reasons. But when that same thing moved from emotional to monetary, they were pretty much happy to give $1 and come late. Now they do not have any emotional guilt. So just be careful when you're putting these monetary rewards in place. Your first preference, try to put moral rewards, social rewards, and then finally your economical rewards. And ask people what motivates them. For certain people, they might be that, okay, if I come every day on daily scrum on time for like a month, can I have an early half day on a Friday? Or I ask my wife, okay, if I do not eat junk food for 1 month, can I have a junk food or now no more alcohol, but can I have a beer day with my evening with my friends? So that is something which will keep me, okay, so 29 days, 28 days, finish. Now comes the beer day or a junk food day. That keeps motivated. So find out what really people value. What you value might not be what they value. And there could be certain things where you would look for instant gratification. 30 days might be too long. What is it? Something which I can have it now. Like, for example, if I check in the code, I get, wow, some kind of a celebration icon. In fact, we did that. It's just about writing a simple macro. Each time they do a check-in code, they just get a small pop-up. Good job. And they feel good about it. Nothing monetary, nothing. It's just simple recognition. Do that, see the power of it. And then going to the structural ability. Change the surrounding itself. Whether the surrounding itself will enable or support the right behavior or discourage the wrong behavior. Just imagine that if I'm planning to wake up early in the morning and I have got a television in my bedroom, how much excited would I be to watch Netflix binge watching till midnight? I have a charger and a mobile phone next to my bed. Is that environment supporting me? Or if I live in a place where it's like hugely noisy, of course, I cannot change the place where I'm living, but something. For every of these things, if you would have noticed, some or the other action would be coming up. You will have to act on. It's not just about providing the answer, also acting on certain of those things. So here, you might want to make certain things closer or something far away. I would have to ensure that my refrigerator does not have junk food. That if I'm talking about doing a code check-in, I do not have to, I'm not sure about many, but 10 years back, we had to go to a centralized desktop sub machine where we had to go and do the code check-in. Bring it closer. If I have to go 20 kilometers to the gym, I might not feel motivated. Nowadays, building complex have got a gym within their complex. That's the prominent thing. Bring it closer because you do not want personal, social, motivation, ability all in place just by failing your change because of structural ability. You want to put reminders on a key spot near the refrigerator. Check in the code, sticky note, right? We'll be talking about reminders in just a while. Have right tools, have right policies. You have to do a check-in code, put a big printer next to the printout next to the desktop itself, right? So find out what all structural environmental change do you have to make so that you have got the structural ability in place. And last but not the least is setting the reminder. If you do not do this in place, everything else will just fall apart. So what will remind you to keep performing this habit? And I'm not talking about just the alarm in your mobile. What are the other triggers that you want to have? I have got an awesome trigger for my morning walk in my terrace. And you guessed it right, it's my wife. I cannot challenge my wife. So that's a big uh, trigger that I have set it for myself intentionally. What time should I perform this habit? Of course, I cannot do it in the evening. I'm more like a morning person. So if you ask me that, okay, do it in the evening, I might struggle. It might just everything in place. I might not be able to do it. And location, the location should be comfortable. I do not intend to go, even if I'm going out for a morning walk, I do not intend to go in an overly crowded place. And how can I stack this with any of my existing habit? I like listening to audibles and Blinkist audios. I stacked it every day, 15 to half an hour at least I spend listening to audiobooks. So why can't I listen to it while I'm going for a walk, or while uh, developers are just about to take in fact, you know what, we even had these macro returns to just see what time do individual developers check in the code, and we ensure that it just gives a pop-up depending on the frequency in which the person is checking in the code, and you can easily find out from your Git server, like, okay, who. And there's a periodic cadence. You'll find out people have got a preference. They do it before the lunch, after the lunch, before the tea break, after the tea break. You find out a pattern, and we used to remind them that, hey, your next code check-in is due, and they would do that. So that was all about what we just now talked about, a very powerful tool. So we just now quickly introduced you with a powerful tool to influence change, and you can use this tool for your next coaching conversation as well. So now, like Morpheus did in the movie Matrix, I invite you to make a choice. Take a blue pill, and you forget everything you just now explored. You go back to your organization, you go back to your personal space and live with the complacency and the status quo. Or you take the red pill, and as a change agent and as a coach, go ahead, influence people around you to unlock their potential toward greater achievement. And if you have taken the red pill, then go and be curious, have that childlike curiosity, be courageous, do experimentation with this tool for influencing change, and then you will see the magic happening. Thank you.
Thanks, Anand. It was a wonderful talk, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that people are curious about the blue pill and the red pill. Yeah, so we will open up the floor for Q&A. In case anyone has any question for Anand, either you can type in. Yeah, I mean, these are the coordinates of Anand. You can reach out to Anand one-on-one. He has shared the coordinates. So I'm also pinging you the YouTube link, the YouTube channel link. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel link, where we have a lot of interesting videos apart from this video, which is currently being feeded there. So now you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. Also request if you can come on camera, we can see each other. I mean, people who are comfortable to come on a camera, but yeah, this is an opportunity to ask questions to Anand. You can now unmute yourself and ask any questions.
Yeah. Can I ask one question, Ashutosh and Anand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Yes.
So Anand, it was very interesting and really an excellent presentation. I was immensely benefited from your various thoughts. Thank you so much for sharing the thoughts. So my question to you now is, these days and times, while we are working with the global teams, people spread across different geographies, different time zones. When I compare the way we worked earlier and now, uh, we were meeting people and new people, leaders, and people who are working with us, various teams, like you may call agile teams or scrum teams or DevOps teams everywhere in the world. But these days, people are joining and somebody reporting to somebody, and we never met those people. They never met us, and then we don't know their habits and the cultural background and food habits and time preferences, because we used to meet people and get to know a lot many things earlier, but these days, as we all know, we are only talking through a video and laptop and scratching our head, things like that. But so these days and times, if you really have to motivate somebody, inspire somebody, get the best out of them, what are a couple of things from based on your expertise, Anand?
Wonderful question. So if I understand, how can we motivate people? How can we engage people?
Yeah.
Generally, by default approach for us is to pull people toward a good side. That, hey, come over here. See, it's such a good, wonderful green environment. But what we often ignore or are oblivious are people are stuck over there, and empathize that they are stuck in a bush of thorn. the more you try to pull them toward you, the more they are getting hurt. So my approach is to go actually over there where they are, try to see the situation, help them understand, and then try to take one thorn at a time. And that is where those questions which I was talking about, right? Those questions help remove those thorns one at a time. And once those thorns are removed through your empathy and through your questioning of those situations, then you can, of course, take them along with us. But then what we generally think is that, hey, they are reluctant to change. They are not motivated. They do not want to be there. They are status quo, complacency. What we are missing out is the empathy. 2 steps toward them, they'll come 1 step toward us. I hope that answers.
Yes, yes. Yes, Anand. Thanks for your thoughts.
Yes.
Anyone
Ashutosh
else?
sir,
I
would
think
you like to add do you have great experience on this?
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'll give the privilege to you today. You're the star today. I think there have many people. So I wanted to take a break today, right? I mean, I always end up speaking. There's one more question from Advait. Very interesting point. Thanks. Question. I often see Scrum Master favoring one team over other. What causes such behavior or perception?
Ask the Scrum Master. Why would you want to make an assumption and then make your decision based on the assumption? Go and ask the Scrum Master. Of course, you will not be asking them, hey, I see you that you are favoring one over the other. You might want to give an instance, because if you give that generic statement, they will not buy into it. Hey, Anand, I saw that yesterday you were engaged in this particular behavior, which made me feel that you were kind of favoring this. What are your views? Ask the view. First, you gave a very distinct situation. Then, what you felt about it. You're being very transparent onto that. And then you do not go judgmental. You ask, what do you feel about it? What's your thought? They might come differently. They might say, no, this was a particular situation. You have just now validated your assumption through transparency. And then they may say, yes, I never realized that. All right, what are you thinking about doing it? I'm engaging that person on what do they want to do. And then later on, hey, that's a wonderful thing to try out. Would you try something from my side as well? Now you're asking a permission from that person to try something based on your experience. And then you suggest something. Otherwise, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does in a way. I mean, it will help to come on the same page and probably either accept the behavior, or help the Scrum Master to not to favor a team. But my question was more from background, as to why they end up doing such behavior. What I've often seen is, if they are working with a team where they were part of the Scrum team, then they become the Scrum Master. They kind of end up favoring that, and and then how to we still want that person to be a Scrum Master of these 2-3 teams, right? We don't want to hire a Scrum Master for every other team, because there has to be a consistency across everything. So my question was really why, what causes such behavior, or even for leaders, why it causes such perception.
Right. So we are getting onto why are they doing it, right? It could be many. It could be that, for example, if I bet on when there is a match between India and Pakistan, assume, okay, take India and Australia. I know that I'm an Indian, but if I bet on Australia, Australia is going to win. Where will I bet my money?
Yeah.
Right? Same thing when I know that there are two Scrum teams, and if I have my vested interest that if my team A, if I invest my energy, they will have a better performance, I'll get a better rating. Why would I? That's again my assumption. That could be,
Yeah.
we have to validate that through strong observation. It second could be that Scrum Master is getting social acceptance in that team. The different
Mm.
team is not even listening to, not giving respect to that.
Okay.
There could be numerous reasons. So
Yeah.
let's get rid of our own biases, validate the assumption. Most of the time, what happens is that we live with our biases unconsciously and we make prejudiced judgments.
Agree. Thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
Thanks, Advait. Anyone else? Any question for our speaker? See, lot of silent people. Yeah. Yes. Sushil, you
Yeah,
want to speak?
yeah. Hi, Anand. Sushil here. So just I have started my one of my journey with one of the investment bank, and we have to do transition like around 7 to 8,000 people across. So when I started interacting with like Scrum masters of the various teams that I need to, so I see a resistant like so. So what is the best way to like break the ice, like make them like friendly so that they will realize that you are not a threat to them? Or so any suggestions on that, like how to start the journey since it is a new? So I thought of taking your experience and I can use that will help me a little bit.
So if I understand your situation, you are in transitioning a team from X to Y. It could be
Right.
with respect to methodology, process, framework, technology, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it is like we are trying, that is little risky, I know. We are trying bottom up. Normally I have seen in past experience a top down approach is more successful, but due to this some reason has been taken, there is some logic behind, so started this bottom up. So what do you think? Yeah.
Actually, bottom-up approach. Now you're actually going an MVP approach. I suppose you're not transitioning the entire 7,000 in one go.
No, it is in phases. Like we have divided into 3 phases: incubation,
Exactly.
onboarding, incubation, and maturity kind of.
One time.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, I suppose the team that you would have selected would have been least change resistant team, because you have to be very careful. You do not randomly pick up a team who has got lots of change resistance already. Maybe, of course, not because they are resistant to change, but because they have got a lot of baggage with them. So
Right.
which team did you pick up which were eager? For example, if you just imagine you have got 3 different teams, one with mainframe, one with .NET, another with microservices. Which one would you pick up for transition? I would pick
Yeah.
up microservices.
Microservices. Yeah.
But if you're oblivious of the technology stack and you randomly pick up my mainframe, just you can imagine what's the nightmare you're going to go through.
Right.
Or take from a people side, one is just a newly formed team. They are into the Tuckman's forming stage, and another is in a performing high performing team. Without knowing the chemistry, you just suddenly abruptly pick up a team which is in a forming stage. You know what will happen. So
Right.
there are lots of things, and then once you have decided that okay, this is the team which you want to go, in fact, ask me to go for it, and then see whether you have the sufficient social capital to pass the message. And message comes in 2 forms. One, from the organization, that okay, what is this change, how is this change important for us, like we will lose the market opportunity, we might lose client. And then from the line manager, what will happen to you when you do not participate onto the change? How will your performance bonus lose? How is your job change, the job band change will affect? Those communication are also coming into picture, which we did not discuss much in detail. But yeah, those are all different aspects that you'll have to take into consideration. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Anand.
Thanks, Sushil. Anyone else with a question for Anand?
Yeah, Anand and Ashutosh, can I ask question once again, please, Sri Nagesh?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, if you look at the built-in quality leadership coaching practices in agile team, global agile teams, Anand and Ashutosh, like IT industry is still suffering because the quality maybe still thinking afterthought process. First you do coding, then that for testing we can outsource to somebody. First you do coding, testing will be done by somebody. You don't worry. You know, if such a thing is happening, even today, when we have an iteration of 10 days, while it is happening daily stand-up meetings at least 9 times or 8 times, are we really getting built-in quality practices? How are we getting the feedback from the clients, the end users, at least 3 to 4 times? Is it possible based on your experience in a way? Is there any way to get the customer feedback, the end user feedback in an iteration? So the the quality will get baked in during the development process.
Sir, shall I take that question?
Yeah. Go ahead, Anand. Yeah.
So, Shri Nagesh, if I phrase that question, how can we build quality in?
Yes. Yes, Anand.
So here, I assume that they have been sufficiently trained, and you're saying that they're still not doing it. Is it from a change perspective, or is it like from a competency perspective? Where are we stuck on our change journey?
I think maybe for me, first point is competency. Maybe second point is change. Both maybe, Anand.
Okay, let me quickly take you through, with the available time, another framework called model called ADKAR. Awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement. Are they aware that when they are not building quality in, what are they losing? They are losing client, they are losing their own weekends. Even after that awareness, that motivation part, right, we covered, do they have the desire to participate onto built-in quality? Once they have the desire, do they have sufficient knowledge to do it? Once they have knowledge, do they have an opportunity to hands-on practice the ability part? And if they keep on doing it, what is the reinforcement which will keep them into the habit? So find out your built-in quality. Where is it stuck? Are people not motivated to do it because they are not being incentivized? Of course, not from economy, but other ways also. Do we do not have sufficient technology stack in place? Are they not aware what are the consequences if they do not do it? Does that make sense?
Yes,
Am I
yes,
answering
yes.
your question?
No, no,
So
I'm getting points. Yes.
to identify the barrier point, where are they stuck in their ADKAR journey, and try to address. What generally our default is, people are not doing it, we just keep on sending them for training. People are not using CI/CD, keep send them for training. People are not using Jira, send them for training. That is knowledge and ability part. But what if they do not have a desire to do it?
Yes, you're right. But Anand, have you come across in one agile team or couple of agile teams, a product owner, a product manager, are they able to get a real time customer feedback, the consumer feedback within the iteration, at least to one time or two times or three times? As a product owner, they are looking at the demo and they are approving or disapproving the demo. But is it really possible, based on your experience, are they really get the end users feedback so that that can be baked in within the iteration?
Yeah, very much. I was working on to employee benefit for a company called Willis Towers Watson. They into employee reinsurance and employee benefits. So Willis Towers Watson employees themselves were using the service which Willis Towers Watson was giving it to other companies like IBM and Fidelity and others. So we were doing all our A/B testing with the beta users, the pilot users in-house,
Okay,
getting a
okay.
feedback. So how you
Yeah.
are identifying, how are you doing those canary releases, and how are you identifying your pilot alpha users, beta users, and getting it done? Do you have
Excellent.
right environment where you can get it?
Got it. Thanks, Anand, for the input.
Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Sri Nagesh. Thanks, Anand. Yeah. Anyone else with a question for Anand?
Hi Anand, good evening.
Sir,
Uh, yeah, just a one question I have. Like uh, in every organization, so why coach would be needed for the leadership team? So if you can just tell me.
oh wow, that's a wonderful question. Why would a coach be needed for
Yeah.
a leadership team?
My name is Santosh. I'm from Ligato.
Hi,
I've
Santosh.
already yeah.
So, coach's primary responsibility is to bring awareness and hold a person accountable for any action. Why awareness? I'm already self-aware, right? But we are so much influenced by our own mental models, our biases. Just see how many times you make a statement in a day and reflect back, record your voice in 1 hour conversation, and you'll see how many biases, how many assumptions without you knowing are baked into it. And those assumptions are making you make certain decisions. Someone just now, right? Atul, I guess you were there, someone, right? There were so many assumptions he was making when saying that Scrum Masters are biased. That is where coaches help unlock those keys, unlock those bias, bring the awareness. And once you have unlocked, you are liberated. Then you can explore the world around you. There are lots of things that you can do, but you still need someone who can hold you accountable to take the actions once you have gone out of the awareness. That is where your coaches, I'm not talking about agile coaches, I'm talking about professional coaches or life coaches or career coaches here, and for which Ashutosh sir is a master.
No,
Agile
no.
coach is a very misused word, but yeah, someone like Ashutosh sir, who we are talking about, CXO level coaches.
So thanks, Anand. I don't know how much you said is right. The last statement I won't agree, but yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I think you brought a very pertinent point. I think this word agile coach, I think we have tend to mix and match with the. I think you made a very interesting discussion, and unfortunately, this agile coach has become the kind of a term which has been used and misused, if I were to say, right? I mean, yes, and you brought in a very pertinent point that at the end of the day, it's the life coaching which matters, as you said, right? I mean, just to put it in my words, showing the mirror to the person, and telling, okay, this is how you look, and now improve it. Okay, an interesting observation from Eliza. Agile coaches are supposed to be magicians. Okay, I don't know, magicians or God. I think I have heard this term also, by the way, that you are God. How can you be wrong? Right? I mean, I've heard this in my transformation also, that we consider you as a God. Uh, Interesting. Yeah. Anyone else? Any question? Yeah, we are almost near the end of the hour, but we can take maybe one question. Anyone would like to ask?
If there is
Any
nobody,
question?
can I ask, Ashutosh sir? Can I ask if there is nobody?
Yeah, we'll just wait if there's anyone else. Then
Yeah.
I'll give you the opportunity. Yeah, anyone else? There's a last opportunity. Any question? Okay, I don't see anyone coming up. Yeah, go ahead, Srinagesh. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So look at the burnout issue. People, we are saying that you need to know technology, domain, and day wise, sprint wise, user story wise, and all. The burnout issue. People, day after day, demo after demo, iteration after iteration. You look at the human side, the human centric human side of the this coin. How to do justification? They are completing 1 week, then another week, then demos. What is the best way to really get motivation, inspiration from them? They're looking at the human side, the burnout side of the human beings, sir.
Good question. And that reminds me, one of the principle of Agile Manifesto, right? The sustainable pace. That is the very intention that they have specifically mentioned in the Agile Manifesto principle about sustainable pace. And unsustainable pace has got lots of other consequences. How we put it to management is that, hey, our work-life balance is not good, our mental stability is not affected. Tell them the story that they want to hear. When we are having unsustainable pace, then that will lead to quality compromise, cutting corners, technical debt, and relating it to what are they going to lose. And of course, then you append it to what are you losing. Unsustainable pace, high attrition, and all those things. So when you talk in their language, then they may see that, hey, sustainable pace may not be, unsustainable pace may not be appropriate. Now, are you saying that how can we motivate them for an unsustainable pace?
Yes. Yeah.
That is something against my ethics. But if it be, then there is also an Agile Manifesto principle which says that uh, business people and developers talk daily throughout the project. Now, it could be, and there's a second principle which says the welcome changing requirement even late in development. Just imagine hypothetically a requirement came on Monday when on Saturday you have got a release and customer says that please get it done. Developers know that it means that they will have to slog over midnight lamp and over the weekend to get it released. They say, no, it's against unsustainable pace. They say, customer says, it's only one time, please. Now that's where your business people and developers are talking to each other. You talk and you figure out that, okay, for one time we will do that because what are the consequences? Touch their personal values. That if we do not release that, some old retiree will not get the claims on time. They might have to wait for long because this particular feature has got a defect or needs an enhancement so that the retirees who are getting checked for their claim reimbursement after 14 days, they can get it in 3 days. That's the urgency of it. Now you're touching their personal values. They may say, fine, we can do it for one time, but not again. But in their retrospective, they will discuss, hey, why were we not able to welcome changing requirement? Was it because, again, manifesto principle provides you the answer, whether technical design, architecture and technical excellence was there in place or not? How can we would have technical architectural excellence and technical design in place so that we could have very well taken that and still be in a sustainable pace? Agile manifesto principle provides you those directions, may not provide you the answer, but asks you the questions. I hope that helps, sir.
Yes, sir. Very good. Make sense. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Anand. I like that statement. Agile Manifesto provides you the direction, not the answer. So I'm going to steal that statement with due respect to you in my next session. But yeah, that's a very powerful statement. I think we'll look for answers in the Agile Manifesto. At the end of the day, it's a compass. It will give me a direction. Okay, so thanks everyone. I think we are almost at the end of the hour, and once again thanks for patronizing this event. As always, as we know, we meet every Friday, try to meet every Friday, if I were to say, with an interesting set of speakers. And today we had Anand. We had the privilege of hosting Anand, and just a small memento, Anand, from our side for the benefit of our community. I'll be sharing this with you in an email, but just this is a small token of appreciation. I hope you can see it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and really appreciate spending time last 1 hour with us. I hope everyone liked the experience, everyone liked the topic, everyone learned something. And yes, I think we should be sharper right from, I would say, Monday when we come back to our workplace. Any last thoughts, Anand, from your side before we finally wrap it up?
I would say that use always have a very strong level of empathy. Do not get judgmental. There's always a reason why people are behaving that way. They are not reluctant, they are not resistant. It's just that they are stuck in their thorns. Go closer to them, watch the thorns, unplug those thorns.
Great. On that note, I think we will end this session. And once again, thanks everyone, and appreciate Anand for spending time with us. Bye everyone. Most importantly, stay healthy and have a great weekend ahead. Bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh, sir, for having me, and thanks everyone for taking your time out.
Yeah. Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Ashutosh.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Anand.
bye.
Thanks, Ashutosh.
Thanks.